Hello, my name is Tony and I read a lot of books. And if you don't know what to read next, or if you want to get into reading, this video could be for you. Was that my intro? I don't know. So yeah, let's just start right off. This series, it's so special to me because it was like the series that got me into reading. You have to know, as a kid I was never like a reader. I hated reading. I was kind of dyslexic as a kid, and I don't know, I always wanted to be a reader, and I guess now I am. So this is the Save Me trilogy. This is the book series that inspired the Max Hall series. I'm not a fan. Please do not watch that series, at least before reading these books. Like, at least watch it after, if you need to watch it. Basically, it plays in this English English, like, really posh school, private school. Right, sorry, my parents came. So, she's kind of like the nerd, the super academic, like, shy girl. And he's like the really popular guy, like the richest of the richest, you know. And he obviously falls for her. And yeah, it's just a really good series. Really good. It's in German. I think they must have like an English version now that the series is out. Yeah. And also these are some of the prettiest covers I have. So they're always on my little book display in the corner. Now, this was also a series I started my reading journey with. And it's the Anna Huang series. Now, it's one of my favourite series because of my, like, the emotional value it has for me, because I started like reading this so early on in my reading journey. My favourite from the series is the last one. My absolute not favourite is the second one, because there's one scene in it and I literally, like, this series was kind of addicting, you know, like it's about a friend group of 4 girls, and each book is about one of, like, a different girl and then her love interest. This one is about Ava and her brother's best friend. This one is about Bridget and her bodyguard. And there's one scene which is just so disturbing and weird, and that was just like too much for me. I literally was like, I was sitting here while I was sitting over there, I was reading it, and I was just like, and I literally thought, oh my god, am I going to, because I always read a book through, like, even if it's horrible and worse and makes me feel bad, I read it, you know. I'm not someone who gives up. I was nearly about to give up, but then I got good again. But that was just one scene. I was so, like, disgusted. Yeah, this is not my favourite Anna Huang series though. My favourite Anna Huang series, this one. It's this friend group, and they all meet in Shanghai, which is where they have, like, kind of this program, like this year abroad. And these 2 books are about Farah and Blake. And when I tell you that this is soul crushing, the kind of time period between these 2 books, like, it's not just the books that are soul crushing, but the time period between these books that's also soul crushing. Like it's just, guys, read this. If you're into romance, read this. I've literally reread these, I think only once, but I think about them daily, so they're just my babies. Also, you do have to say, which this isn't for this book, you know, but just for my writing in general, if the male character in the books is really, like, he acts good looking, like, you know, like he's got a good character, I'm immediately kind of falling for the book. So, but this is not the case here. It was just great books. And then these two books is about two different like other people from the friend group and their significant others. Amazing series, short read but really emotional roller coaster. Great books. I'm an Anna Huang fan, like the Anna Huang fan. Like if I were to meet her in real life, I'd actually like go on my knees for this woman, you know. She has got a different, like another series. It's this one, like the Kings of, or like, yeah, Kings of Sin series. Not my favourite. It doesn't, I think because I'm not as invested in the characters. It's still good writing, it's still Anna Wong, but it's just not, I don't know. But read her books. It's still a good book, but it's just not my favourite. Just wanted to say that. Second to last of our romance books is Dreamer and Billionaire series. That's what it is. These were good books. My favourite is the last one, Final Offer, because it's not just a romance. This is when I kind of got into my like, oh, I need something else. I can't just read romance. I still read like you know, like vanilla romances. I still read those, but from time to time I need something, you know, with a bit more depth to it. And this is about reunited lovers, or like, you know, they were once friends and then they weren't and now they're lovers. But also it deals with his alcoholism, his addiction, and it's so sweet and kind of like you're reading the book and you're like invested in his journey. You're like, oh, just get it together, like, you know. But you get a bigger picture of like what addiction is like and what it's like for the loved ones and for themselves, and you know, and like how it even starts. And this is really good. This is really good. I wouldn't read it as a standalone though. You can, but it's just read the whole thing because the other books are also really good. The last romance. This is, I don't recommend this as a read. I'm just telling you this was one of my, I don't like saying this, top romance rated books because I wouldn't read it again. I probably wouldn't buy it again. Like all of these, I would buy them a million times. I would want thousands of copies. Wouldn't buy this again. It's just one, just need to tell you it. It's one of my top rated romances because the romance was cringy. It was like literal, like kind of horrible book, you know, like, oh, like I was cringing so hard sometimes. But this book taught me something, because I'm a person, I cling to like relationships, friendships, you know, any relation humans can have, you know, and I cling to those, and it's like really difficult for me to like let go of a person. I mean, it took me so long to get over my childhood best friend, you know, like stuff like that. And this was just such like an eye-opener kind of, because basically it's about they were kind of like childhood lovers, you know, and then they kind of fall out of contact, and it's because you just want that like happy, and you want them to work out and to be high school sweethearts and that stuff, and you just, you know, this is not a spoiler, that's not what the story is about. The contact isn't contacting of them well, you know, and they kind of fall out. How she words their relationship, how she will always keep that kind of in mind and like cherish it, that's really nice to read. But then they meet again when they're adults. Now everything's different, he's completely different, and he doesn't care that he once knew her. But they see each other every day, and it taught me that, this is weird, it taught me about how our relationship with people changes over time, and how after a while we can't call them our friends anymore, or we can't really say I know that person anymore, which is sad, but we can still like appreciate that we had a friendship once. And I don't know, it sounds so like, oh, you know, for me this was a good lesson. This wasn't a good romance. Okay, moving on to fantasy. Sorry. This was my first fantasy book ever, and when I tell you that this was like, I don't know, I've lived life with this. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. So I, guys, it's so famous. I think you know it all. It's about this like fantasy world, and they are like dragon riders, and they learn about that, and it's about it's an enemies to lovers. And as I told you, if the guy is good looking, he's got a good character, I'm already invested. Like, the story can be horrible, I'm already invested, you know. Sorry, I hope none of my former classmates see this and were like, who's that weirdo? Great book, great chemistry, great everything. Great storytelling, great world building, great writing. I recommend. When you read it, while you read it, cherish every moment, because I wish I could read this for the first time again. Now, another fantasy that is on crack again is this book. So this is the second one from the Court of Thorns and Roses. So if you read the first one and you thought it was over, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. You're so wrong. I can't believe she's such like a great writer, because she doesn't just think for one book, she thinks for the whole series. The series just about starts at the second book, so you need to read the second book when I tell you. The first book was already like life-changing. The second book changed my whole brain chemistry, the universe, it changed everything. Okay, so this, guys, come on, please. I did a project about this. That's how obsessed I am with this book. I did a project about it. I picked some sets and I built those sets. My teacher, she read the first one, she didn't read the second one, and I bugged her about that. I annoyed her about it so much. I was like, you need to read the second one, Nicola. And so now I think she's reading it. She bought it, you know. You need to read this. You need to read this. It's amazing world building. It's amazing everything. Like, she's just such an amazing writer. Like, you literally, I don't know how people can create a world like this. Like, I literally do not know how you can build a world like this and build storytelling like this and like a story like that. And it's just amazing. I'm not sure if you can count this as a classic just yet, but I'm sure it will be a classic in the future. This is fiction. So you all know this, you all know the movie as well. The Perks of Being a Wallflower was also one of the first books I read, and not a romance. And I'm a person, if I read a book that's like, it's kind of got like difficult topics, you know, like really like kind of pulling you down topics, I feel not nice. Like, I feel sad and stuff, and this made me feel sad. But it was also like, so there was so much stuff I underlined. This was back when I underlined a lot of stuff, and there was so much stuff I underlined because I was just, coming of age is a difficult time in your life, and I think if you're struggling in that time and you want to feel understood, this can help. But then also it's got this other thing going on, which was just so shocking in the end. I mean, I read this when I was 16, I think. So I don't know, I think now if I read this I would have catched on to it, but back then I didn't, and it was just so like, you were so cooped up in that, like relating to stuff and like being amazed at his, like, not amazed and oh my god, this is so cool, yeah, and then you just get shocked. The last book I don't have because UPS lost my parcel. Yeah, it's my stuff that I moved from London to Hamburg, back to Hamburg. It's got my book, The Picture of Dorian Gray. It's one of the only classics I've read, because classics, I'm sorry, they're just boring. But The Picture of Dorian Gray, I'm just gonna do this, you know, this is Pride and Prejudice. The Picture of Dorian Gray, if I've ever read a classic that was not boring, that was it. Little side note, skip chapter 11. I mean, I'm not a huge like literary person. I don't always like get the interpretation of stuff. I don't get it, why it's there. You don't need to read it. It made me hate the book for a bit. Skip chapter 11 and then just enjoy the story because it's amazing. It's amazing writing. I'm not sure if it's prose, but it's really like, it's beautiful written. And if you were to really want to understand every single sentence, it would take you years probably. Like really understand and feel the sentence because it's just so packed with so much meaning. But yeah, amazing book, really interesting characters, and then shocking end. So yeah, not Pride and Prejudice, but The Picture of Dorian Gray. Guys, that was it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're going on to read now. Love you.